The story of Gideon and the Midianites is a fascinating and dramatic account from the Bible, found in the book of Judges, chapters 6 through 8. Here's a summary. The oppression of Israel. The Israelites had fallen into a period of disobedience and idolatry, which led to their oppression by neighboring nations. During this time, the Midianites, along with the Amalekites and other eastern peoples, were especially harsh. They would invade Israel, destroy crops, and leave the land in devastation, causing severe hardship for the Israelites. As you watch, kindly support us by subscribing, linking, sharing, commenting, or monetary for more productions. Gideon's call. In response to their suffering, the Israelites cried out to God for deliverance. God chose Gideon, a member of the tribe of Manasseh, to be their deliverer.
Wow.
At the time, Gideon was hiding in a winepress, threshing wheat to avoid detection by the Midianites. An angel of the Lord appeared to him and addressed him as a mighty warrior, which seemed ironic given Gideon's lowly and fearful state. The angel told Gideon that God was with him and that he would save Israel from the Midianites. Gideon, initially doubtful and seeking reassurance, asked for several signs from God. These included the famous test of the fleece, where Gideon asked that a fleece of wool be wet with dew while the ground around it remained dry, and then the opposite the next night. The reduction of Gideon's army. Once Gideon was assured of God's support, he rallied an army of 32,000 men to fight the Midianites. However, God told Gideon that his army was too large. To ensure that Israel would recognize the victory as God's work rather than their own strength, God instructed Gideon to reduce his forces. Gideon first sent home those who were fearful, reducing the army to 10,000 men. But God further reduced the army by instructing Gideon to take the men to a river and observe how they drank. Those who lapped water like dogs with their tongues were chosen, while those who kneeled to drink were sent home. This resulted in an army of just 300 men. The battle. With this small force, Gideon prepared for battle. God gave Gideon a strategy that involved psychological warfare. Gideon divided his 300 men into 3 groups, each armed with trumpets, torches, and empty jars. At night, they surrounded the Midianite camp. At Gideon's signal, they blew their trumpets, smashed their jars, and held up their torches, creating a chaotic and confusing scene. The Midianites, believing they were under attack from a much larger force, were thrown into panic and confusion. They began to fight amongst themselves and fled. Many of them were pursued and defeated by the Israelites, and the Midianite threat was effectively neutralized. The aftermath. Following this victory, Gideon was offered the kingship by the Israelites.
Yes.
But he declined, stating that, "The Lord will rule over you." Instead, he served as a judge and leader for Israel for a time. Gideon also made a golden ephod, which later became a snare for the people, leading them back into idolatry. Gideon's story is often highlighted for its themes of faith, obedience, and the power of God working through seemingly inadequate means.